Welcome. My guest today is Dennis Henderickx, sports director at the Belgian Pro League. For over 2 decades, he has been one of the key architects shaping the future of Belgian football, from youth development and women's leagues to innovation and strategy. In this episode, we go beyond the title to discover the person, the vision, and the passion driving the game forward. Dennis, welcome.
Hi, Seka. Good evening. How are you?
I am fine and good to have you on the
Thanks
show.
for meeting me.
I know you have a busy schedule, Dennis, and thank you for your time. Let's just start with maybe with the first question about Dennis. As I just mentioned, you have shaped the future of Belgian football from inside out. But before the titles and the reforms, who was a young Dennis who fell in love with this game?
Oh, yeah. He was very young. My father was also really into football. My grandfather, the whole family. I had a nephew that played in the first team of KV Mechelen. So I went for the first time at a game. I can't remember it because I think I was 3. I was sitting at the back of my dad's when I was 4. I think I already kicked the ball at the youth academy in Mechelen, and yeah, that's where my passion started for the game.
So yeah, it looks like something that goes from generation to generation in Belgium, from father to son, the love for football.
I think that's true most of the time. I gave it also to my son. He loves football. He's always looking at matches, at visuals, at feed, in his cell phone. So he knows everything. He knows a lot more than I do about foreign players and all these things. So it's really nice to see how the game still passionates even young people, old people, all kind of people are gathering together in that game. And that's what sport's about, and that's what football makes it so strong around the world, I think.
As a woman, of course, and I also having a son who plays football for most of his life. He's just 19 now. I do understand about the passion about the football, although before I could not really understand what is this, that people are just so into it, and football is just so much more than just a game. I would say running from left to right to left behind the ball.
Yeah, it is, of course. When you see at football for the people, it's the game, but it's more than the game. And why that is, it brings, like I said, passion, but it also brings yeah, people and stars and people you look up to, and yeah, that's something people are always thinking about that. They are dreaming about that. They see dreams in sports. And of course, yeah, also football is one of the few sports where you can't know the results almost before, because in a lot of sports the best team always wins, and in football it's not like that. You can be a small team, but you can beat a really big team, and that's what people like so much also about football, is that the unpredictable part of it. And then, of course, there's the other side of football. That's the whole business that is around it. Yeah, it's global. It's enormous. When I started as a fan in the beginning and as a player, I couldn't imagine that so many people are involved in football, in the game, in the way the business is led, in the way it brings people in action. And yeah, that's incredible to see how how many people are really involved in that game. It's an economical reality. So
It
two
is
things.
it is a business model, eh?
Yep, it is.
Business model as well. Eh? It does strike me as somebody who is not really football savvy yet, or I think I will never be, that it's not always the best player who is playing.
Yeah, that's of course very subjective. What is the best player for you? The best player could be And for me, the best player could be why, because yeah, you can't say in football. I Some people love a player because of his strength, of his the way he plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy. And other people can say, "Oh, I love that player because he's so technical." And other people more think more about, "Oh, he's tactical, really strong. He sees, he has a vision in the game." And then, of course, yeah, you have players who score, you have players who don't score, but those are also really important. And of course, the players who score goals, those are the players who love the people most. But in the end, it's a team sport, so you need everyone. Yeah, saying the best player is not always playing, it's difficult because it's subjective. It depends on the coach, on the environment, on a lot of things. So normally, when a player has a talent and he can develop enough, and he has a little bit of luck at the end to come into a first team and play a lot of matches, then yeah, he will make it as a professional football player. But it's the same in amateur level, I think. You are coming as an amateur, as a young player, and then you have to be picked up by a coach who likes you, who wants to put you in the team. And if it works, then you stay most of the time in the team.
Yeah. If it works, good for you. If it doesn't work, not so good for you.
Yeah, but that's of course the way it is in a lot of things. You only can put 11 players on the pitch, and you have a lot of a lot of players in your team, in your squad. To be honest, I didn't love to be at the bench. That's normal. Nobody wants to sit at the bench. So that's why it's important that when young players are in their development, that they can play as much as they can, that they have the time to develop, because otherwise, sitting on the bench, you can't develop on the bench. You have to have a little bit of luck also, like I said, to just be in the right game, the right position, the right feeling you have, the right, everything has to be right, and then you will be in the team. And sometimes a coach takes a player out, and a lot of people, because yeah, when you go to a football game, if it's on amateur level or professional level, it's always the same. All the people around the pitch are coaches, so everyone has his own opinion. And in the end,
Yeah.
everyone will say, "Why does he take that player out? Because he can do that. He will do that." Yeah, that's a decision a coach has to take. And it can go right. It can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That brings me to the one very intriguing point for me, that in Belgium, I would say we have a very strong youth academies, and like really broad, hundreds and maybe thousands of young children, as from age of 5, 6, start with the football training 3, 4, 5 times a week, and basically dedicated the whole life to football, and just streaming upwards, which would be like, I don't know, as from maybe age of 7, 8, 10, they are like 5 days a week training, and in the weekend is a football. And the whole life is football, school, sleep, and again. So, and then, yeah, we will train hundreds and maybe thousands of young men, young women. And then it comes age of 16, 17. And then, yeah. And what happens then, Dennis?
Yeah, the decision has to be made. Yeah, of course. Maybe first about what you said. We have really strong academies here in Belgium. I think that's true, and I think there's a reason for it. At first, it's really important that we can develop young players, because the financial structure of our clubs is a little bit depending on the development of players, because we are not the top 5 leagues. We are not one of the top 5 leagues. So we have a different business model than the top 5 leagues. So our league. It's more like the Dutch league, the Portuguese league, and you see it also over there. They also have really strong academies because you can develop players to bring them to a higher competition. So I think that's true, and the reason why we have them is also because of we have a lot of knowledge here in Belgium, a lot of people who are really strong in developing young talents and who are really specialized in it. But in the end, we've been for many years at the top of the FIFA ranking. So we proved that we can bring really good Belgian players to the top. And if you look at some other countries like the Netherlands, for example, they are more telling their story. So I think we have to learn as Belgians that we more have to tell our story the way we develop those young people and the way we are always thinking about how can we improve the development of young players. And then, of course, about the thing you said about players coming at a certain moment to the end phase. I think it's really important that there is a really wide basis where you can build on. So I think even this basis has to be much wider than it is now because we already select maybe too soon some people, and I think we have some extra insights for the future, certainly with a lot of knowledge and science that is built up for that. For example, it's development of players, the maturity of players, the real talent that is in a player. How can you detect that? Yeah, in the past, most of the time it was subjective, really subjective. A scout comes, sees, looks at the player, and who does he see? Yeah, most of the time the most physical players, the players who are already have more training sessions than other ones. So you lose a lot of talent over there. So still, we are a small country, so it's really important for us that we detect all talent at the base. So I think we will improve really coming years because there are some projects coming on also with the federation. We call it the data backpack for youth players. So we gather a lot of data about players, and I think we can do it even more, but it has to be useful to develop the talent. And then you can bring the right talents to the end phase. And of course, it's like a pyramid. And that's something we have to recognize that in the past, we didn't have enough or we didn't do enough for people and players for the mental part, for the schooling part, the educational part around it. It was football, football, football. And yeah, sometimes the mental part, yeah. But now the pressure is so high with a lot of children, and the educational part is also under pressure for them. So the the top clubs, and they are doing that, believe me, they have to be really, yeah, really focused also on the mental health of those players. So I think in the next years you will see that clubs are investing more in the mental care of players. But yeah, then even then at the end you have to make a decision. You can't go to a first team, a professional team with with 40, with 100 players. It's not possible. So you only can bring each year, each season, some players up. And then, of course, yeah, you have to make choices, and making choices is always losing. And I can believe that if you make a choice, not everyone is happy with that choice. And I think sometimes it's a thin line between choosing for player X and Y. I can understand that the impact for a player and his whole environment is really big.
Certainly some more work there to be done because on the one hand you have the whole identity of a young player who's been whole his life, let's say from the age of 5, known as the footballer from, I don't know, Mechelen, Anderlecht. So you take kind of identity with it and gives you perspective as well. We all need a perspective, the light on the end of the tunnel, if I may say so. If this falls away, it could be injury and your career is finished. It could be that you're just not chosen or not good enough at that moment for whatever criteria they may be. And most of the time, criteria are subjective, because I suppose, or I would think, that if you're playing as from age of 5, you have always been on the top tier, you wouldn't be then among the last age of 16, 17. So what is then the criteria, to be chosen? Then you are not there. Yeah, it's really, I think it must be very, very hard mentally for a young player who just fall in a kind of abyss, in a hole, like, who am I? Identity crisis. What can I do? I've done football all my life. What are my options? And there is nothing there.
No, that's why I think
What
it's
would be,
really
what would
important.
be your take on this?
Yeah, for me, I think we have to start already at the beginning of the career. So we have to start with all the players who are coming into the system of the highest elite groups in Belgium, to start really in the beginning with educating them, their parents, their environment, and to tell them, yeah, be aware of it, but not everyone is becoming a professional football player. I had it with my son also. At some point, was he was 12, and yeah, yeah. To be honest, he took the decision himself, and also the club made the decision. He has to play on another level, and I feel it as the right decision. For me, it's the right decision. When I see him now, he's playing at the right level. And I know he has dreams, of course. Even now, they have dreams. But I try to tell him, like dad, that he has to be realistic. And I think that helps at that point. I understand the players who are coming along the way till the top of the pyramid, and who have to go out of the system at that time. Yeah, that's really hard. That's even harder. But even then, at each age, it's hard. Even at 11, a child at 11, where you have to say to it will stop at the highest level, they are broken. A lot of coaches aren't aware of it, but when you bring this message to a child, it's devastating for the child. It's really their whole world is coming down, and that's why it's so important in the education of the coaches also, that we try to bring them on that far to a higher level. I think in the past, it's now changing, but in the past there was no educational part in their coaching education, where they had someone who comes over and tell them, how do you bring a negative message? How do you tell a young guy or a little bit older guy the way you think about him? And it's not only that coach that made a decision, it's most of the time a team of coaches, the head coach, an assistant coach, someone who is coordinating, maybe the academy director. So you see a lot of people are gathering around and make a decision. It's like in a school. In a school, it's not only the math teacher who says, "Okay, you can't go to the next year." It's a team of professionals who tell you what you can do and can't do, and also that is really having a big impact on children. It's almost the same. Only, of course, football is it's such a dream to be Messi, to be Ronaldo, to be the next professional top player, and that's really hard. I know, but I think we really have to improve the way people are communicating with young children, the way clubs and responsible people in the club are communicating to young people, and bringing this message on the right way.
Exactly, exactly. And there are many examples of that as well, with some famous players as well who were just not good enough for a coach. And then those players would be afterwards like top players playing for Real Madrid or whatever. So it's just so difficult because it's sometimes very personal.
I remember a player when I was the academy director in Mechelen. I remember a player, we decided with the team of coaches and everyone who was around him at the age of 14, I think, or 15, 14, we decided that he had to leave. But now he's a professional football player. He plays in Eupen, the second league in Belgium. So yeah, who am I to say that I'm always right? I'm not always right. That's for sure. I'm human. I can make mistakes. I only can say that at that time we thought, with all the people who were around the table and who followed up this player for many years, that in the balance of other players, he was the player that had to leave the academy at that time because, like I said, you have to make choices. You can't take everyone with you. I would love to do that, to be honest, because that would be really nice. But it's the same in life. No, it's not. No.
Exactly. So Dennis, would you agree that it's not always the talent, because talent is not maybe seen at the right moment in this case? Would you agree that the most successful one would be the one with the most zilt, most heart and persistence and not giving up?
I think talent is really important, of course. At the end, all the players who are in elite teams at the highest pyramid places, I think they all have talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. That's for sure.
Exactly.
But it's true that the mental part at the end is really important. I think, like I said, the mental part is really important and a little bit of luck, also a little bit of luck. I always tell people that you have a lot of things that are important in football in making choices, and that is technical, tactical, physical. It's really important now in football. The physical part, football is a physical sport, but in the end, the mental is getting more and more important. And you have to have a little bit of luck that you are at the right spot at the right time, that you play that really good game at the moment that, for example, the head coach is also there and see that you are playing that game and says, who's that player? I want to see him in my training sessions, and yeah, let him come over. And that's the luck part, I think.
Dennis, you have played yourself by KV Mechelen, I understand.
Yeah.
How was it for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I played her in the youth. To be honest, it was a long time ago. For me, it was a little bit going up, going down. It was not always easy. Mentally, also difficult. That's true. It was also the big times of Mechelen. So to be honest, it was incredible. At that time, we had a squad that was the European top. So we had to be humble, and yeah, afterwards the passion took me to become a coach. And when I was 27, I already was a coach of a first team at amateur level.
Okay, wonderful. You have been very instrumental in major reforms in Belgian football, in youth licensing, women's football, data integration. Which change are you personally most proud of, and why?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Yeah, that's a difficult question. Most proud of, I'm always proud of processes who were built up with many people, because all of those things you are saying, it's not only from my hands, of course. We did it together with a lot of people in Belgian football. I think that's really important when you try to improve things, when you try to change things. You need people who really are behind it and who really wants to do it. That's also a thing. I think that's one of my strengths, that I can bring people together, and that if they are really into making improvements, that I can take them into a process where we can have a development process, a better structure. I think I can bring people together. I can combine people, and where I'm most proud of. I'm proud of everything that's been established the last 3 years in the league, but also before that, the things that happened in Mechelen. It's everything has its special a special point of importance, and the license system is, of course, really important for clubs to make a difference between the level of clubs. I think it's something that I've been working on for even when I already was in Mechelen. I was involved in the licensing committee. And then afterwards, when I started working for the Pro League, I did it myself with my team, with my sports team over there. The data-driven part, I think it's also really important for Belgian football because I think we were already at a high level, and now we are really innovative in the way we're gonna work. I know even other European leagues and really big leagues like the Premier League are looking to the way we are doing it. So that's a good feeling. I had a really great staff around me. Certainly with my data manager, he's really top. He was really top in the way he handled it, in the way he he adapts the knowledge. So for me, it was a great to do that process. I was together with the clubs, and the women's development. That's really special for me, to be honest, because I can't say it, maybe, but I will say it. A lot of people have their doubts about the development of that part of football, but I really believe in it. I think you can't compare it with men's football. You may not compare it with men's football. For me, it are two really different sports, but there's a huge potential, and of course, it's not the potential is not for me in the financial way. I think there will always be a big difference between men's football and women's football when we talk about finances. But I'm 100% sure that there are fans, there is a crowd, there is possibilities for the development of women's football also in Belgium. You see right now that with OHL and Anderlecht in the European competitions, we made huge steps in a few years. When I look at the level a few years ago and we see the level now, it's really I'm so happy when I see that they are getting results in the Champions League for women. I'm really happy when they have their results. Of course, also Anderlecht getting further in the Europa League for women. So I think that gives me a lot of warmth, and also the reactions of people in this area of the sport are really warm and nice. It's always nice to work with them.
Yes. I have interviewed quite a few female players. The last one was Jenny Skyman, and I consider myself now a little bit the insider of a female football in Belgium. Still a lot of work to be done there, especially with academies, also for girls, and even on a higher level, they do not always get the facilities even for trainings. Should be better, I think. And good to have you, Dennis, with this vision about the female or women's football. That it is a thing, a sport on its own, and we should consider it and also give it the same opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's, of course, it's also about investment. I think you can't look at it as the way there is invested in men's football. It is the same with sponsorship. You can't look at it the same way as the sponsorship in men's football because, the crowd is less. It has to grow. But in the end, I think companies can also identify them with the way this sport is evolving and the way the people are living in that sport. I think that's also an important thing. And I think there's also a big responsibility for the government that the infrastructure for girls to develop is the same as for boys. And you see clubs who are doing really well about that, but you also see that it's sometimes struggling because it's about girls. I was at a training session of the of some small girls a few weeks ago, and it was really great to see how they like playing football, how they love to, how the energy was unbelievable. So yeah, can be boys and girls. It's all possible.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that I think that the major push forward for female football was with the last World Cup. I think that America won, United States, no?
You took me
By surprise.
by surprise now, to be honest. It was in Australia. Uh, I'm I'm doubting about that now. I thought
I'm
it was
also
Spain
looking
that
for,
won.
yeah, I'm looking for, I remember this team, the lady with the green and blonde hair
Hmm.
who was very
Yeah,
eloquent
yeah.
and had no fear for over free speech. So yeah, I was really proud of
I
her.
think I was at the final of the European Championship in Basel last July.
Hmm.
To be honest, the game between Spain and England, it was a really good level, and it was really nice to look at the game. If you see the way the Spanish team played, there were also two different styles. You had the Spanish team, like in the men's team, they were more technical, a lot of movement, and then you have the English team, but was more also like the men's team in England, more about the physical and the tactical part, and the way they played against each other was really nice to see. And yeah, in the end, England won, but in the first half, I thought, yeah, Spain will win, and that's what football makes so special. You can't predict the result at the
No,
end.
no,
That's
yeah,
what makes it so special. Yeah, but the
exactly.
level was really good.
Yeah, I think yeah, most of the time I remember now the lady that I was talking about was Megan Rapinoe with
Okay.
her
Yeah.
always colored hair. She was really
Yeah.
kind of very quick tongue, I would say. So yeah, I'm proud of the ladies who dare to speak their mind and show also what they can um as a partner on the same level. Dennis, let's talk about the future of Belgian football. If you could fast forward 10 years from now, how would you like Belgian football to look in terms of youth, women's league, and overall identity?
We had a really big discussion about it with all stakeholders the last half a year. We started about that with some with the people who came into the federation, like Vincent Manhart, who is really top. With some other people, Pierre Locht, who came into the federation. We had the stakeholders from the amateur wings with Johan Wallen and Bob Burwijs who were there, and we had a lot of discussions about how can we make some plan, how can we make a plan that will bring Belgian football to the next step in 2030. And of course, then it has to go further on and further on. So you have to be aware that what you do now in your academies, what you do now in your with your women's football, what you do now in everything that's happening in football, it will have an impact the next years. And you have to be aware that football also the way it's been played is also evolving all the time. So you have to predict a little bit how you have to be in 2030. So made a plan with 5 important points, and I think it's a really good plan to start off. I think data is one of the typical thing that's in it. So data will be more and more important. But I really have to say, data is important, but it can't only be data that's telling you how to play the game, because a football player also have to have his own feeling, his own guts, his own he has to bring his own emotions into the game, also in the way he thinks, the tactical way he thinks. The data is very important, is a very important point. So I think the next few years there will be a lot of talk about it, but there will be also a lot of new steps taken in this area. And then, of course, with AI, it's evolving enormously. It's going really hard. Then infrastructure is also a really important part. It has to develop. It has to be better. If you look at some of our clubs, the infrastructure is really poor if you compare it with some countries around us. So we really have to evolve also over there. And then collaboration, for example, between amateur clubs and professional clubs to bring young people ready into elite clubs, to have more collaboration between those two, to bring the level of amateur football also to a higher level, to have more talents that are detected. And so those things are also really, really important. And then maybe the most important thing is writing a new development plan for the future. Football has evolved during the last 20 years, so we really need the new insights of football in that plan. And I think with all the stakeholders, we have to work really hard on that. And then the last thing I think that's important is being a center of excellence here in Belgium, being innovative, being the best of the smallest. And if you are really innovative and really good as a small country, you can beat big countries and you can set your foot against those countries. And that's what we are doing right now. There were some doubts about the new players in our national team. Are they so talented as the day before? They are different. Of course, it's a different generation. It's a new generation. But give them time. We have really a lot of talent coming up the next few years.
Good for Belgium.
Yeah.
And is you're one of the highest experts and experienced youth managers and visionaries. Talking about your own legacy, Dennis, what would you hope the people will say about your contribution to the game, not just in the results, but also in values?
For me, values, the biggest thing is the biggest value for a team of people worked hard to achieve things. And for me, the biggest achievement would be that all the things that are going on and are searching their way, that they will be going forward. And we have to move forward all the time. We have to have a clear line. For me, that's really important. And try to keep that line and move forward on that line. And I think we made huge steps in that in Belgian football together with all stakeholders. And I think we have to keep that line for the next decade. And try to improve all the time, but with some personal feeling. And for me, it's also important with the humanity that's around it, not only the hard business, but also the warmth around it, because it's sports and you have to have also good feelings about it, not only pure business.
And some humanity as well towards the players. Okay, Dennis, we are coming to the end of our show, and I would like to ask you maybe a question. If you could go back and speak to the 16-year-old Dennis, standing on the side of the pitch with a big dream, what advice would you give him today?
Probably the same advice my father gave me at that time, that a lot of things are really important, not only football, and that you have to follow your dreams, that you have to be realistic in the way you follow them, that your educational part at that age is really important, and your friends, your family, your everything that's around it, that's also important, and not only focus on football. Football has to be fun, has to be pleasure. For me, that would be the biggest message I would give to the 16-year-old Dennis. I would say enjoy playing football, but work hard around it.
That's a lovely message. And do you have one final positive thought for our audience?
Message in the universe, yeah. A positive message I would like to give is that try to work together and not in separate parts. For me, that's the most important thing. If you work together, you can achieve a lot, really a lot. And don't be the person that thinks that he can do it himself, because at the end, you need people. So that's an important message from me.
Well, thank you, Dennis, for coming to the show. And it was really lovely talking to you today. And I hope to see you, let's say, soon with the new
Thank you
project.
for the invitation. I hope
well,
to be in some challenges in the future. We will see what the future will bring.
Yeah. And then you come back and tell us about it.
Yep.
All right.
Deal.
Thank you. Bye, Dennis.
Okay. Bye.